Hey everyone, good morning. I think I am alive. I'm checking out a different program this morning and I am hoping this is getting to you. I think it is. I just checked it out. Good morning, everybody. And we are celebrating National Play Therapy Week this week. It is such an amazing way for children to communicate and express their needs, work through traumas, anxieties, aggression, and just learn about the world. So, if you don't know me, my name is Paula Kettula. I am a licensed clinical social worker and a transformational parent coach. And I love to play. I'm a play therapist. I do all kinds of different play with children, from sand play to child-centered play, and most recently even teleplay, where we've been playing online because of COVID. This week is all about learning how to play with your child because it is such an amazing way to connect with your kiddo, to really create a deeper, closer connection with your child. It fosters attachment, it reduces stress, and you know what? It's just so much fun. So that is what these live videos are all about, 10 o'clock every morning on Facebook and YouTube as well. And if you are feeling like, Paula, I don't know how to play, don't worry. You can book a 20-minute call with me. The link is below this video. Just grab a spot and let's chat, and we'll figure out why is playing so challenging for you. Like there could be some traumas in your own background. And also then, okay, how can you get started with play? Because it's such a vital way for us adults to connect with children. So today's video is all about different types of play. There's all sorts of different types of play. I'm not going to talk about all of them. And also, I'm going to offer you some basic guidelines and principles about how to play with your child. Because what I've noticed as a psychotherapist, and I know parents, you have the best intentions, but sometimes the play is not free anymore and things get a little messed up. So I want you to know how to play so that you can be fully attuned with your child. So that's what today's live is all about. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm gonna give you attachment play activities. So specific activities that you could do with your children and really to improve that attachment. We know that attachment is one of the number one factors for children's growth and development, optimal growth and development. So if you want to nurture one area in your child, it would be this attachment. Then on Thursday, I want to talk about calming and mindful activities. Thursday is going to be all about self-regulation and learning to do some activities and fun games and things like that with your child that are all about self-regulation. And I know that's an important topic for you. And Friday, my topic is playful parenting. Because there's alternatives to parenting. Sometimes we get stuck in this idea, old school stuff, right? It's either rewards or consequences or punishment or some kind of discipline. No. There's also playful parenting that is available for you that will discharge any negative energy and aggression and help shift that situation. Okay, so that is the plan for this week. And let's begin. So I want to first talk about the forms of play. So there are 3 different forms of play. There's like solitary play, there is parallel play, and group play. So you can see the solitary play already developing in babies. You know, when they start exploring the world, they are like looking around, they're playing with their bodies. Like when they start realizing like, oh, wow, it was me who moved my arm, or it's me who is grabbing my toes, and they are just exploring and touching their own bodies. They are touching anything and everything around them. They're putting things in their mouths. This is all kind of solitary play of the babies, which is so valuable. And the more babies get exposed to a very rich environment, my invitation is to take your babies everywhere. Like let them see the world, because that's what they decide to do, is just to absorb everything that is around them. So whatever you can, have your baby rather like upright like this, carrying in the front or something like that, versus laying down on a stroller or something like that. They're not really learning anything that way. So if you think about back in the day and in the primitive cultures, what did, there's no babysitters, right? So mom takes the baby everywhere, and the baby is tied to the mom's back and literally goes everywhere. Super, super valuable for development. So if you can keep that principle in mind, that would be amazing, and just expose the baby to all kinds of different situations and environments, and that will really guarantee their optimal, healthy adaptation to the society. Solitary play also happens in older children. You could, when kids learn to read, when they are 7, 8, 9 years old. So reading, or playing with Barbies, playing with dolls. So the boys might be playing with cars. So maybe boys are playing with dolls too. I actually would recommend that. It's just let kids play whatever they want to play with, whether it's your girl wanting to play construction set or cars, or your boy wanting to play home. It's amazing. Let them do what they desire to do. Drawing and painting are also examples of solitary play. And then parallel play, which means that children are playing together in the same space, but they are not necessarily interacting. They might be doing similar play activities, or maybe they're different, but they're just playing alongside other children. And this is what we usually see when children are about 2 to 3 years old, is when they start doing this. Okay. And then group play begins around 3 years and up. And then there's different kinds of group play as development continues. So group play is all about learning to share toys, sharing ideas. It's all about social interaction, creativity, usually organized around a theme of some sort or a game. When I would have siblings come to the session, it was always like, the first thing we got to do is decide, what are we playing today? Are we playing store? Are we playing restaurant? Are we playing something else? So it's really, really neat to facilitate that process for children without telling them what to do or solving the problems for them. Okay, so those are just for you to get an idea of different types of play that happen in different developmental stages. Okay, let's dive deeper into the types of play. And like I said, there's tons of different types of play, but I think this is valuable for you to know, to have an idea what kinds of play children are engaging in, so you can understand perhaps what they are working through, and you can really support them. So my favorite type of play, and it's actually a form of modality of play therapy, is child-centered play therapy. And I love it because this is so much in alignment with my belief that no matter what, we have this inner teacher, we have this inner guide inside us. And it is my job as a therapist to just provide a safe place, to provide the environment with different kinds of toys for the child, provide relationship and connection for the child to be able to fully and freely, unrestricted, express themselves in the play setting. So in child-centered play or child-directed play, the kiddo just gets to do whatever they are doing. And that's what I would do most of the times in my sessions. It's really the child comes in and I ask them, what would you like to do today? What do you want to play today? And then the child leads. I am following in a very, very, very traditional type of child-centered play therapy. The therapist would just sit down, and this is what I would do too. I would just Sit down, observe and observe and observe, be fully present and wait. I'm just waiting to see if the child is going to invite me to play. And other than that, I don't interfere. So the beautiful part of this is it's very empowering. You trust the child 100%. The important is that the energy that you bring in. So if you just decide that, okay, I'm just gonna do this child directed play with my kid right now, is for you to be fully present. So not only to put the phone away, put the focus mode on or silence your phone, it should like put it away, put it in a different part of your apartment or your house so it's not coming in the way. And that then you are also fully attuned so that you're not distracted by your thoughts, you're not distracted by your worries or anything else. Like when a child would come to my office, I made the intention to really make the child feel that they are the most important, amazing being in this planet. Like I would make these googly eyes and I would really have this energy of admiration. And that for that moment, the child felt like they are just so lovable and so valuable. So energetically and intentionally creating that sort of space for your child and then let them lead. So oftentimes I might watch for a long time, especially if it's a new child and they are getting to know the office and the toys and everything. They would just explore that, and I'm sitting there. And I make gentle observations. So I'm not analyzing anything, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Please do not analyze anything your child is doing, but I would just do observations like, wow, you really like that toy, or oh, I saw you put this thing over here. And I would just almost like it's like a commentary. It's a commentary of what the child is doing. And this simple technique is super valuable because it increases the child's self-image of themselves. Like, because when I say it out loud, they realize like, yes, I did that. I had the power to do that. And it also tells the child that I'm fully present. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. So it's a very simple thing and seems like, what's even the point of that? But this is actually one of the main scientifically proven play therapy techniques that oftentimes I don't have to really do anything else other than that. Just commenting on what I see, what's going on from a place of being very objective and neutral. Okay, so that's child-centered play therapy. What else do I have on my list? Symbolic. In symbolic play, the child might use objects as represent something. They could take like a little empty paper towel roll, and that could be a sword or whatever imagination of fantastic ideas they come with. That is called symbolic play, when an object symbolizes something else. And it's so wonderful. Like, get really creative with children. Like, try to make it happen. If they say something that might maybe initially sound a little outrageous, figure out how to say yes. Figure out how to make it happen. For example, I would have sometimes kids like, well, I want to burn something. Like, okay, let's figure out how we can burn stuff in my office safely. So then I would create something in a sand tray where it was safe to burn a little note or a little piece of paper, and just kind of getting creative and cooperating and collaborating with the child to figure out like, okay, how can we make this happen? And it might not look exactly like your child wanted it to, because not everything is possible. But then collaborate and keep asking, okay, we can't do that, but what else? Do you have any other ideas how we could make this happen? And it gets to be a fun adventure. Then there's a play that's called Socio-Dramatic play. This is your playing house and playing doctor, playing restaurant, playing store, playing, like going to school and things like that. This is super, super valuable sometimes in therapy. Kids would just repeatedly, that's what they would do. The family in the dollhouse wakes up in the morning, they eat breakfast and all these things. They go to school, they come back to school, then there's back home from school, there's homework, and then so they are repeating the day-to-day life and activities. This is all about helping children integrate their world. It's actually super helpful for kids to play this because they kind of repeat the routine as they do this play. And sometimes if there's any parts of the day that are stressful, they create a stressful situation in the play as well. And that's how I kind of know what's going on at home and what's really stressing them out. If a child is playing something in the dollhouse, and at dinner time, in the play, the child is getting a lot of commands and do this, do that, don't do that, like the parent almost like yelling at the kid, then usually the child is just kind of protecting what's their experience said. Whether you're yelling or not, I'm not saying anything about that. This is the child's experience. They might experience being yelled at even if you're not yelling at them, but it's important to note that. Okay, so that's socio-dramatic play. And it's really amazing way for kids to work through also anxieties and traumas. In traumatized children, what we see is a lot of repetitive play where the child like repeats the stressful event over and over and over and over and over again until it's resolved. So sometimes it's really helpful just to not to interrupt the process, but just let it play out. If your child is engaging in a lot of repetitive play and it's not changing, that might be a good indicator to bring them to a play therapist who might be able to facilitate moving the child forward from the scary traumatic event. Because that's just one sign that child might be kind of stuck in the trauma. There's also play that is called mastery play, where the child is really practicing all kinds of skills. And usually like what kids love, they love to play store. So if you don't have already some kind of way for your kids to play store, and they usually like this from anywhere from age maybe 4 or 5 all the way to age 8 and 9. They love playing store. They love to be the store manager. And they are really, handling money, and you could be the customer coming in and buying stuff. And it's really good for their self-esteem, their confidence. They are mastering these skills of interaction and communication and managing their own store or their own restaurant. So that is really valuable. Any kind of mastery play that you see, like, engage in it and go with it. Another type of play is power reversal, where the child really wants to be the powerful one. And most children, that's what they want to do in play therapy, for example, with me. So I would be the child and they would make me do stuff, do store, do this. You can't go out with your friends. And I'm pretending to cry because I'm sad. I'm just going with the flow. Also things like, don't be afraid. Like sometimes, especially boys, they like to play with guns. I know there's a lot of different views and opinions about this, but when the play with guns, play guns and toy guns is done in the right way, it's actually super valuable and helpful and can prevent a lot of issues or aggression and things like that down the road. So I would have a couple little, just a few little toy guns in my office. And the boys would play that they would shoot me, and I would play dead, and I would play dead sometimes for a long time. Sometimes I would open my eye, I'm like, am I still dead? You kind of come in and out of the play. But I know sometimes for parents are like, no, you can't shoot me. It's play. Go with it. And sometimes I would have, like, if I was feeling really uncomfortable, if there was like a lot of violence, a lot of shooting, then I would just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna use my force field right now. And I would do that. Poof. Now I have a force field. You could shoot me. It's not gonna impact me. Sometimes I would do that because I also get to honor myself. But my intention is it's not about me and how I feel. It's about the child working through whatever they get to work through. And let me tell you, there's a lot of aggression in the unconscious mind. So a lot of stuff needs to come out that might look a little horrible from the outside, but it's so good when it comes out in play versus in real life. Okay. What else? So that's a power reversal. So let them boss you. Let them boss you. You can even invite them like, hey, you want to play the boss? You want to boss me around? And then, have them pretend to be the boss, or have them pretend to be the parent. Like, yeah, what would you do if you were the parent and I'm the kid? And then you just go with the flow, being flexible and go with the flow. And remembering it's playful, it's all silly and playful. Sometimes kids also do regression play, which could look like they might be a cat, or they like literally regressing into a very primitive state, which is important for them to allow to do that. Don't ever say, you need to be a big girl or you need to be a big boy, because what if they don't feel that way in the moment? What if they are feeling very small and insecure? So when we tell them be a big girl, it's like, well, I'm not feeling that. What's wrong with me? So be very, very mindful of your words. So regression, sometimes kids can like, I've worked with 8-year-old kids who regress to be babies and start doing the baby talk and babbling. One boy was pretending to be a cat. And so I built like little beds for the cat, and we were meowing. We went entire sessions without saying any word. We were just meowing, connecting. He told me to put him on a leash and take him to the mom in the waiting room at the end of the session. That was an interesting thing to explain to the mom, like, why is she coming with my child with the collar and a leash around him? But he was so happy. And he went through, he started as a kitten, he grew up to be an adult cat, and then he became a boy. And that was his journey. So allowing that and making it playful, sometimes it's like, I'm a tiger, and they might start scratching the siblings or adults. Of course, you did redirect that. Well, wow, I see you're a powerful tiger and you want to scratch. Your sister is not for scratching. Here, scratch this thing instead. So you redirecting, you acknowledge what they want to do. I see you, I hear you. And then you set the limit. Sister is not for scratching. Mom is not for scratching, but scratch this. And you keep repeating and repeating all that to nauseam. Okay, that's regression play. Again, if you see a lot of regression play, there could be some trauma, could be something that they are not moving through. And it could be a sign that it might be a good idea to bring them to a play therapist to be evaluated. Other types of plays, creative play, arts and crafts, playing with water, playing with sand, creating craziness and a lot of mess. One of the biggest advice for parents out there, let it be messy. Play is messy. It's okay. Let the Play-Doh get mixed. Let the paint spill a little bit to provide some organization, but like, let it be messy. That's okay. It's important. My office was a mess so many times, and it's okay. It's part of the process. So having the materials for that, and what kids love when they are, for some reason, 5-6-year-olds, they really start loving to make scientific experiments. And they want to mix things. They want to mix paint and glue and sand and whatever you can think under the sky. They would make this into this really nasty looking, yucky concoction. That was the most precious thing for them. And I always had to have a little containers for that, because that got to have a lid on, and it went home with the parents. And oftentimes parents were like, what is this? Let's throw it away. It's important and valuable for the child, so it doesn't get to be thrown away until they are ready to do so. So this is just a child being creative and exploring, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? Imagine how valuable that kind of curiosity is in life in general. So have all kinds of materials ready. Making slime and things like that is obviously a big hit. So have those sorts of materials ready. And by the way, now that I'm talking about this, I also have a Facebook group where I am putting additional resources. So I'm gonna put some materials there where you can buy materials. I'm gonna add some book resources there and additional information and games and activities for you to do. So if you want to check that out, it's on my Facebook page. My Facebook page is Transformational Parent, and there is a group. It is called Circle of Support, where transformation happens. So click on that, and you will be answer a couple questions, and then you can become part of that circle of support for parents, where I'm offering some extra guidance and support and information. So that would be a good place for some additional resources for you. Other types of play is just rough and tumble play, where you can get really physical and active, both with boys and girls. Especially girls need this, because it can be empowering for them. It can really help their confidence in incredible ways. And then sometimes with the boy, and this is just the way the society is kind of domesticating children into this certain patterns and beliefs about roles. And for boys, it's also really important to show this kind of like nurturing play and really being connected to their emotions and allowing boys to cry, allowing boys to express their emotions. So there's rough and tumble play, fantasy play, where kids create this fantasy world where all kinds of amazing things happen. It's so fascinating. I do sand play therapy, so they would create lots of different fantastical worlds. I will always love to see them. And then final one that I'm gonna mention here is sensory play. Sensory play has to do with anything with music and movement, or any sensorial fidget and toys, sometimes art, if they are, touching the paint, or maybe they're finger painting. Super valuable. All that is very soothing and calming for the nervous system and fosters the development of the brain. So have a soothing kit and calming kits available. Or I used to have a fidget box where there's a lot of fidget toys for the child. You can go shopping together with the child and figure out what they really gravitate and what they really like. So those are, and games. I don't think I mentioned games. So any kind of like board games, or like Simon Says games, or those are also one type of play as well. Okay, now few words about how to play. So just a couple guidelines for you to know how you can be really connected and successful with your child when you play with them. Okay. So I already mentioned to be present. No phones, have your mind empty, because kids, especially children, they feel it. If you're thinking about the dinner, or what do you need to do next, or you're worried, have your mind and body be fully present. Close any back doors. You are locked in. You are with your child. The other important thing is let go of any agenda. There's no agenda. You're not there to play with any kind of like, oh, I need to teach a lesson about da da. No. Play is free. It's spontaneous. There are time and place for those kind of teachings. That is not in play. So don't go there with the mindset like, today I'm going to teach my child the social skills in this play. They might not want to do any of that. Believe me, I've tried it. So let go of your agenda, let go of any expectations. It's not about teaching a lesson. It's not about teaching any rules. If you're playing a board game and your kiddo is cheating, let them pretend you are to have no idea what's going on. And then you're like, wow, how do I keep losing all the time? What's going on? I don't know. So just kind of being playful like that about that is not, when you're playing, this is not a time to go over the rules. They will learn the rules. It's a developmental stage where they are testing the rules, and there's a reason why they're doing that. They might be feeling like, well, I'm not winning in life, so I'm going to win in this game. So then if we try to be too analytical and strict about that, now we actually restrict the healing process that is available for the child. So don't correct them. Most of the time, let them win. Again, it kind of depends. Sometimes there are children who also need to learn how to lose. But this is a very delicate observation and being attuned and connected with the child. Like, what level of challenge do they need? Like, I had one boy, I never won anything ever. And I tried. I tried. He always beat me. I tried to give him a challenge. I never won anything because he's had a brilliant mind. He had a brilliant mind. So I never won. And it was hilarious. We were laughing so much. So sometimes you might be able to challenge them, or they might need to also experience losing, but not all the time. Like, don't make it about the rules. Don't make it about teaching them a lesson. I talked about admiring children, making them feel special. This is all about them. Follow your child's leads. Be flexible. Try to create whatever it is that they want to do. Of course, you can set boundaries, 100%, but then work with another solution. Come up with another solution with your kid. So if this is not possible, then what is? What else is possible? What else is possible? So you're always creating possibilities versus limitations. I already talked about let it be messy, and do not interpret or analyze the play. Don't go asking like, oh, what does this mean when this happened here and this person talked to that person? Is it because you were mad at dad about blah, blah, blah? No. Now you are taking them into their head. You don't want them in their head. You want them in their heart and in their bodies, in their soul. I as a therapist do not do that. There's some forms of therapy that do that. There's some very particular times perhaps that I would do that, and I'm trained to do that. I know when to do that. But for you as a parent, don't analyze, don't interpret, just reflect and observe, totally neutral, not making any judgments about the play, so that the child can feel fully unrestricted. That's the whole goal. Fully unrestricted. The goal is to keep them in the unconscious world. When you start asking questions, you bring them to their head, and it interrupts that spontaneous play. What else? Don't initiate playing if the child is crying. So if your kid is already crying, they've had a tantrum when they're upset about something, don't go like, yay, let's play. Let them cry. They need to cry. It's a natural form of stress release. It's really important that crying is not interrupted. It's not distracted. Just let it happen. And you are going to be doing your child and yourself a favor when you allow that, because otherwise things get bottled up, and then there's a lot of bottled up feelings and dysregulation that collects. So crying is a good thing. It's actually a natural way for the body to release stress. So imagine if you interrupt that, now the child did not have an outlet to release their stress. Final word about tickling. And it's another delicate area, and a lot of parents do this without realizing that very rough tickling is actually overpower. It's about power over the child. So kids, like when I've observed this in session, so you see them laughing, and they are laughing, and they might go like, no, 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 stop, stop, stop. But the laughing is not coming from joy and fun and playfulness. It's more of this like nervous laughing. It's a very delicate thing. So that's why I'm like, stay away from this kind of very like intense, rough tickling sessions, because the child could be experiencing that as overpowering. Sometimes the child might ask, hey, can you tickle me? So you can kind of again be attuned about that, but I would reverse that, like, why don't you tickle me? Let's do that. Or if the child is like, no, 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 you tickle me, then like if a child would ask me that, I would then play to be a tickle monster. I would go after them, but I would be so clumsy that I would actually never get to them. If the tickling is part of like a song or little game or nursery rhyme, when it's just a little tickle, 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 that's totally different. But just again, being mindful that sometimes this like the very innocent thing that so many parents do, it's actually overpowering the child. We don't want to overpower the child. We want to empower them. My final word. Oh my goodness, I had a lot to say today. Are you still there? Yes, some of you are there. Hello, hello. You can always leave me comments below, and I get jump back and answer your question. So what if you don't want to play? Just don't feel like it. I'm busy. I don't want to play. Don't. It's not a must. It's not a have to. Should never be a have to, because what's going to happen is if you go against yourself, you just build up resentment for your child, and it creates stress within you. So when you play, when you choose to play with your child, have it come from a choice, have it come from a decision, have it come from a place of intention that, yes, I want to play, it'll be fun. So of course it's okay to say no. However, also knowing if that you say no all the time to the child inviting you to play, that then they are going to feel resentful. They are going to feel like they don't matter. They are going to feel unlovable. They are going to feel unimportant, because play is one of the most important things for the child. If you're not participating in the play, then the child is going to think, I'm not important. So balance it out. And if you do say no, then figure out like, okay, so mommy can't play right now. I know you want to play with mommy right now, and mommy cannot play right now. And give them a reason. I get to do blah, 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 whatever it is. But let's figure out together, what could you do instead? And so work with the child to come up with an alternative solution. Don't just say no and walk away and leave them to their own devices, but actually help them come up with another solution. Like, would you want to do this, 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 this? What do you think? Get them started with the activity. So now they are empowered, they're happy, you created connection, even when you said no. And then you can also say, you know what, I can't play right now, but let's set up a play date at 3:00 or whatever it is. And then you carve out time to play then. The important thing here is to keep your word. Be in integrity, because you're going to lose your child's trust. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to feel safe. They're not going to connect with you. So keep your promises. Whatever you get to do to keep your promises, do that. That's really important. And also remember that it doesn't have to be a separate time. Anything can turn into a play. Like, could you be cooking and having your child there right with you and sing some songs and make it playful, or put some crazy outfits on? Anything can be made into a play. So it doesn't have to take any extra time. Play and playfulness is an inner state. It's a way of being. And the more you can be playful, the more you will connect with your child, the less stress they are going to feel. And guess what? You're going to feel less stress too, because play, laughter releases stress. So super cool. That's all I have for you today. Again, you can apply to be part of the Circle of Support Facebook group that I have on my Facebook page. The handle is at Transformational Parent. You look for the groups, and the group is called Circle of Support, and that is where transformation happens, because I'm going to be popping in there later today, giving you some resources. Also, underneath this post is a link to my calendar where you can book a 20-minute call to chat with me about your challenges or difficulties around play, and get started with some kind of plan or overcome those obstacles for play so that you could really truly connect with your child. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time again, where I will talk about attachment play. This is super powerful. It's just a really amazing way to connect with your kiddos in playful, fun ways, and really foster that positive attachment with your child. Have a fantastic and playful day. Bye now.